Work of the world is common as mud. Botched it smears the hands and crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies. Greek amphoras and Hopi vases are put into museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Do you know that feeling? Have you ever found yourself yearning for work that is real? Do you find yourself struggling to figure out just what you're supposed to be doing with your life? Whether you're 17 or 70, have you been wondering what you're going to be when you finally grow up? If so, you are not alone. These are questions that rightly crowd our attention. They are questions that return to us time and again as we move through the different stages of our lives, whether we're worrying about what comes after university or what we'll do when our retirement party has come and gone. These are also questions that are coming up for people in new ways and with a new sense of urgency in this time of pandemic, as many find themselves wondering about their life's true purpose. Now, to be clear, when I speak of work that is real, I am not necessarily talking about your career. I'm talking about what each of us takes up as our life's work. I'm not talking about making a living, but about making a life, about the hopes and dreams that serve as a compass for our journey, about having a vision for ourselves and our work in this world that so moves us that it both demands and deserves the deepest devotion of our hearts and hands. Rarely do we ask one another about what makes each of us truly come alive. Perhaps it is too bold a question. Maybe it feels invasive, like prying. All too often, in an effort to make polite conversation, we simply resort to asking kids what they want to be when they grow up, and adults what it is that they do or did for a living. I've done it countless times, and I'm sure you have too. But this is the very definition of small talk. Talk that keeps our conversations and our lives small. Questions that miss the mark of what more is possible. Just think how exciting a dinner party or a bus ride would be if we risked asking people around us the bold question, the life-giving question, what is it that makes you come alive? So I'm asking this morning, so what is it that makes you come alive? Do you know? Have you got it all figured out? Do you know yet what your life's work is? It's one of the most important questions we could ever be asked. And it is a question I hope you hear me asking of you over and over. What is your true work in this one wild and precious life? And are you doing it? With the rising of the sun each day, are you living into this gift that you have been given? Are you listening for the song of the universe sounding in your own soul? Is the miracle of your own breath causing you to come alive and to devote your days to living with meaning and purpose, to do what only you were born to do upon this earth? I know that the answer for many of us, if not most of us, at least right now, is maybe a resounding no. Janine Gleaner, in response to a line in my blurb announcing the sermon in First Light, sent me to a podcast from the comedian Tom Papa, who points out that nobody is exactly living their best lives these days. But he goes on to say, even still, and he's right, that we're doing great. I know the question of what makes us come alive may be a hard one, especially when many of us are contending with the fuzziness of COVID brain or struggling to juggle this strange season with all of its new demands on us. But I know too that a life well lived will never stray far from that question, even when we are living through the hardest of times. To ask what makes us come alive is also to ask what is keeping us alive, what is sustaining us, what is beckoning us on. It has to be said that this isn't a question that we answer once and for all. The answer may change over time. Our life's work may well take us our whole life long, and that's just as it should be. Again, I'm not asking so much about what job you hope one day to hold or about the careers you've had over the course of your life. I'm inviting you to reflect on your life's purpose, your deep calling in this life, in hopes that you may respond to that call with every fiber of your being. In reflecting on all of this myself, I've been thinking about my friend David. David is a brilliant mathematician. He has written over a dozen textbooks on computer programming. He works as a systems analyst for a tech company. But if you were to ask David what he does and who he is, without skipping a beat, he will tell you that he is a dancer. And he is. It's not how he makes his living, but it is how he makes his life. Yet few people really understand this. When he walked into his boss's office a few years ago and explained that he wanted to start working part-time, half-time, so he could concentrate on dancing, he was met with blank stares and then laughter. He was incredibly successful. He was making lots of money. He had a promising career ahead of him, but what mattered most to him was dancing. And so he told his boss he was prepared to leave his job behind if need be to do more of it. Clearly, David was yearning to fulfill his life's calling. I've always admired his courage and his clarity. Eventually, his boss did too, and today, David spends lots of time dancing and enough time writing textbooks to pay the rent. Now, of course, in time, David's body will no longer be able to move in the ways he might like. Yet I know that he will have no problem figuring out what comes next with his life's work, because he has learned to listen and respond so well to the call of life itself. We don't often talk as Unitarians of responding to a call, but I believe we all know something of that still small voice, be it within us or beyond us, that calls out, that persistent voice that pleads and prods and pushes us into the fullness of our lives. It takes courage to listen to that voice. It takes courage to respond to its call. Maybe that's why we tend to stick to the safe questions about what we do for a living rather than what we do for a life. Because to actually share our deepest dreams with others might make us feel too vulnerable, and it might just make us uncomfortably accountable to working to make those dreams real. When we ignore that voice, when we fail to heed its call, we too often find ourselves living out someone else's script, someone else's story, maybe trying to be something that we were never meant to be. Over and over, I have seen people follow a path prescribed by others rather than heeding what they know to be their true calling. I know a woman who worked her way through several years of medical school, fulfilling her family's dream that she become a doctor, only to realize within months that she had made a horrible mistake and really wanted to be a minister instead. She is an example to me of how persistent the call of life can be, but also how patient. She reminds me that even finding our life's work can take a very long time and that it may involve U-turns and significant detours along the way. And she has also taught me that life isn't necessarily about reaching some final goal. The journey itself is, as always, the destination. And every step along the path is a precious part of our life, too, and it is to be cherished for the great gift that it is. So the yearning for work that is real may be just as important as the work itself. For the work of our lives, if and when it is particularly real, will challenge us to stretch and grow into the promise of our being. Now, for some of us, this will mean some creative project or finishing some bit of research that the world still awaits. For others, it involves repairing what is broken, overcoming hurdles no one else can see, or endeavoring to build a better world by moving through our days with more integrity or living more gently upon the earth. All of what we do will one day become what we have done. All of our actions, everything done and left undone, can and will count toward the body of work we leave behind. Now, some of you no doubt have figured all of this out. You've already found your life's purpose, and you haven't and you won't let it go. Every day you take tenacious steps into your calling. As for the rest of us, we may need more time, and we may need to learn to listen more deeply, to attune our senses to what life may be trying to say to us. The poet Nancy Schaefer asks, when you heard that voice and knew finally it called for you and what it was saying, where were you? Were you in the shower, wet and soapy, or chopping cabbage late for dinner? Were you planting radish seeds or seeking one lost sock? Maybe wiping handprints off a window or coaxing words into a sentence, or coming upon a hyacinth or one last no. Where were you when you heard that ancient voice? And did yes get born right then? And did you weep? Had it called you since before you even were? And when you knew that, did your joy escape all holding? Where were you when you heard that calling voice? And how in that moment did you mark it? How ever after are you changed? Tell us, please, all you can about that voice. Teach us how to listen, how to hear. Teach us all you can of saying yes. In our quest, in our yearning for work that is real, there is much that we can teach to one another. So may we learn to listen to the call of life within us, among us, and beyond us. May we call forth the boldest of our dreams by asking of one another the questions that matter most. May we have work that is real all our life long, and may we have life until our work is done. So be it. Amen.